take a picture of it? This is nice. This is really nice. That's me. Where's my mama? Hi, mama, that's me. Mama, do you remember this bag? I love this bag. Not because of who bought it or the brand, but because it represents something. It represents a journey. At 26 years of age, after giving birth to my one and only son, Micah, I had a heart attack. I was told that most people will recover, but I wasn't one of those people. So over the next 5 years, I died 6 times. One time I died, I was sitting in the living room with my mom, and we were watching Wheel of Fortune. And Micah was sitting on the floor playing with his Legos. And I bent over to look at his newest creation, and as I leaned back, I said, Mom, get Micah, I'm gonna die. Death to me feels like somebody just wrapped you in warm sheets. It disconnects you from everything that you've known your entire life, but at the same time, you're still connected to everything. You're floating, you are full, you are everywhere and nowhere. So as I continued to float toward this all and nothingness, I felt a blow to my chest as I was defibrillated. I was back. And when I got to the hospital, they said, Brittany, you are in total heart failure. I said, okay, so what are my options here? They said, well, you cannot leave the hospital without either a heart transplant or some serious medical support. I opted to wait for the heart transplant. They said, your antibodies are very high, so it may be a while before you get one, but we will put you in cardiac ICU. We will support you with drips and medication until you get what you need. Now, I am a strong proponent of the idea that what the mind does, the body will follow. So in understanding that, while in cardiac ICU room 912, I started my master's degree. 9 months later, I was still sitting in room 912. I did not have a heart transplant. I could only see my son on Sundays. They would bring him up the back stairs for 30 minutes. I told my doctors, I have my master's degree, but I am missing my son's life. I still don't have a heart. So what can we do? And they said, we have an option of a type of mechanical heart that you can use. And what we would do is we'll split your chest open, we'll go in, we'll attach that heart pump to the left side of your heart, a wire will come out of your stomach, and then you'll have to carry a controller and some batteries, and that will power your heart. But that will allow you to go home to your son. So I say, okay, great, that works. So I woke up from surgery, and they were right. I had a really big scar on my chest. I no longer had a pulse because my body was being powered by a machine. And someone handed me this bag. In this bag was the controller and the batteries that powered my heart. And by carrying this around, and by knowing that I couldn't live without it, I became a patient. That became my identity. I became a burden. That became my identity. I became broken. That became my identity. I remember one time, it was late in the middle of the night, and when this battery gets low, you've got about 4 hours of life, by the way, on these things, so nobody wants to take you anywhere anymore. They're like, oh, we can't go to brunch. There's a 2-hour wait. Takes you too long to eat. We're not doing it, right? So everybody left you home and brought you back a plate. one night I was at home laying in bed, and it was past bedtime. It was about 11:30 or 12 o'clock, and my low battery alarm started to beep, and 6-year-old Micah, out of his sleep, jumped up and ran into my room and brought me a battery. My bag had become my child's burden. So this went on for 2 years. And 2 years later, I got the call, Brittany, we have a heart for you. And it's perfect. So I went to the hospital, and they did the heart transplant surgery, and everything is perfect. I no longer needed this bag. But every now and then, if I was getting up to walk to the kitchen to do dishes, I wasn't really doing dishes, or going into another room, I would pick up the bag even though I didn't need it because I had gotten used to the weight of my burden. I didn't know who I was without being a patient or being broken. So I carried it even though I didn't need it. 11 months after my heart transplant, I went to the doctor because I felt like I had a cold. And he said, Brittany, the heart is actually doing really, really well, and you don't have a cold. You have stage 4 cancer. And it's everywhere. We don't know how the heart will handle the treatment. We will have to do chemo. We will have to do radiation. Everything will hurt. You will be in constant pain. Everything will be trying to kill you, even your own body, because of your transplanted heart. I started to drown out the doctor because it was a lot. And the thing I came back to is him saying, do you have any questions? I said, I need the number for your best psychiatrist right now, today. Today. And he said, you can just use anybody. And I said, no. Anybody doesn't understand what it's like to have to sit down and write letters to my son for every birthday that I'm going to miss because I am going to die. Everybody does not understand telling my mother, you've done an amazing job, and I love you so much, because she may have to bury her only child. Everybody cannot help me process the death that I've died, the death that is before me, and the rebirth of me if I make it through this. I need someone that specializes in critical illness psychology. And I couldn't find anyone that did that. So 2 weeks later, I sat in front of my computer with 2 separate windows up. One of them outlining my chemo treatment, and the other an acceptance letter for my Doctorate of Psychology program. I knew that I needed both of those things to survive. And in the process of surviving, I was going to make sure that I created a map so that other people didn't have to walk the same road alone. So I sent my brain to college, and I sent my body to chemo, and my soul stood at the crossroads holding all the things that society had handed me, because I had gone through a divorce at this point, that my doctors had handed me, that the world had handed me because I could not take care of my son the way that I needed to. All of the things that the world had given me throughout the course of who I was, I stood and carried. A few months into my doctorate, I was sitting in bed, and I felt a little twinge of pain in my leg. Kind of blew it off, no big deal. And then about 2 minutes later, the floodgates opened up, and I was in pain everywhere. My teeth hurt, my nails hurt, everything was on fire. So I was standing up against the wall, holding onto the wall just to try and hold myself steady in the pain. My mom came in, and I dug my fingernails into the wall and began climbing the walls. So she called the ambulance, we got to the hospital, and the only thing I can remember wanting in that moment is relief. Just give me relief from the pain. That's what we all want, right? Every single person in here has been handed a bag, and in holding that bag, it gets tiring, and we seek relief. So sometimes we'll put our bag down, and we'll take a minute, because it's a lot. There's pandemics and carrying us, everything. And then we pick it back up and we trudge on. One of the people that walked closest with me in this journey was my best friend. She's the peanut butter to my jelly. She's the maverick to my goose, right? So my maverick was walking this journey with me, and I happened to look over at her. I had my bag, she had her bag. So we're walking, and then I happened to look over her, and I realized she doesn't have a bag anymore. So I said, "Where'd your bag go? Where'd you put it down?" And I began to watch and study psychologically, how is it that we are able to put our bags down? And I realized that she had undergone a process of evolution. So I took the information that I gathered from watching her and I applied it to a group of people. And I saw the same outcome. They were able to put their bags down. So as I looked more into evolution, I found a secret. Let's take that word, evolution. The end of it is T-I-O-N. It means the process of. That's it, just the process of. And then we have the word or the letter U. It just means you or self. So the process of self. And then if we take the E-V-O-L and we flip it, it becomes L-O-V-E. Evolution is quite simply the process of self-love. That's what my maverick has discovered, that if I can push myself through the process of self-love, I can put my bag down and evolve into the next version of myself. I did not come to this stage to tell you a story. I came to this stage to invite you into evolution. My evolution was from death to doctorate. Your evolution might be from seeking love to self-love. Or it may be from admiring the strong people to recognizing your own strength. Or it may be from knowing who you want to be like to knowing exactly who you are. Regardless of what you are carrying, I came to tell you that there is a maverick inside of you. And because of what you carry inside of you, the ability to evolve into self-love, you can put your bag down. My name is Dr. Brittany Clayborne. I am a heart transplant survivor, a stage 4 cancer recipient, a critical illness psychologist, and a maverick.